Hi, this video lecture we are going to discuss about project scheduling. So when I say project scheduling, it is nothing but allocating the estimated effort for the task. So when we take any software development, we have to find out what are all the tasks involved in the project, in which order we have to carry out the task. For each and every task, what is the time we have to take, when we have to start, and when we have to complete the particular module, and who is the person for developing that particular module. So, all these activities come under project scheduling. So, allocating the estimated effort for the task. That is what scheduling means. So there are four steps involved in project scheduling. First one is establishing a meaningful task set. Second is defining a task network. Third one, using scheduling tools to develop a timeline chart. And fourth one is to define a tracking mechanism. Check whether we are according to the schedule. So let us see one by one. So first step is developing a meaningful task set. So when we take any software project, it will consist of n number of tasks. That is what we say it as a task set. That is nothing but the collection of tasks. What is the milestone? That is when we have to complete the particular task. And what is the output? That is what work product and what are all the other quality filters we have to include to complete the project. So first step in project scheduling is we have to identify what are all the tasks, what is the milestone, what is the output, and what is the quality filters we have to develop. So then we have to develop a project schedule so that we can put a timeline for each and every activity. And this task set will vary according to the project type and the degree of rigor with which the team will actually work. So the task set may vary according to the different types of projects. There may be an application development project, there may be a concept development project. So there are different, maybe an enhancement project. So there are different types of projects. The task set may vary for different projects. Okay. But whatever may be the project, for doing a project scheduling, first we have to find out what is the task set and what is the product. Okay. These are all some of the factors which will influence the task set to be chosen. One is the size, maybe the number of users, maybe the stability of the requirements, ease of customer communication, then maturity of the applicable technology, project staff, performance constraints, etc. So these are all some of the factors which may influence the task set. So when you are finding out the task set, you have to consider all these factors. Then after finding out the task set, the second step is defining the task network. Task network is nothing but the graphical representation of the flow of the project. That is in which order we are going to carry out the task. So the sequence in which we are going to carry out the task in a project, that is what task network means. So this is represented in a diagram. It is a graphical representation. So this task network is also referred as an activity network. So here in this diagram, we will represent the length of the task, the sequence in which the tasks are going to get carried out, and is there any concurrency among the tasks, and what about the dependency among the tasks. So all these will be represented in the graph. So this is a sample task network diagram. So I have taken a concept development project with 6 activities, starting from project scope, then plan, followed by risk assessment. So from the diagram, you can see it starts with 1.1, then next activity it is 1.2, then 1.3, there are 3 risk assessment done parallelly. This is concurrent. And after completing the risk assessment for the 3 modules, then we go for proof of concept. Then concept implementation is again done parallelly. Then finally we integrate, and then we go for collecting the customer reaction. So this is the order in which we are going to carry out the task. This diagrammatic representation, we say it as task network. And we may use a path called critical path. That is, from the starting to the ending of the project, we may follow a particular path where we can get the work done uh, earlier. That path we say it as critical path. Then the third stage in project scheduling is you are using a methodology, scheduling methodology to develop a timeline chart. That is, we have identified the task set. We have identified in which sequence we are going to carry out the task set. Then the third is now we have to find out the scheduling, that is the timeline chart, that is for each and every activity, when we are going to start and when we are going to complete the particular task. That is what we are going to do in the step 3. So for this, we will use two methodology, CPM and PERT. CPM means critical path method and PERT means program evaluation review technique. Both the tools helps you to find out the critical path, that is the path which we are going to cover in order to get the project done earlier. Then the second purpose of this scheduling tool is to find out the time estimate for each and every task. Then the third one is the boundary time which a particular task can take. That is the maximum time limit the particular task can take so that we can finish the project on time. So using the tools like CPM and PERT, we can find out these 3 things. That is the critical path, the time estimate for each and every task, and the maximum boundary time which every task can take. We cannot extend beyond that. Only if we do that within that boundary time, we can complete our project according to the schedule. So when I say timeline chart, so this is going to tell you when you're going to start the task and when you're going to end the task. So this is also referred as Gantt chart. Look at the diagram. This is a sample timeline chart. So here you will have the number of work tasks. These are all some of the work tasks. So 1.1.1 is identifying the needs and benefits. So for that, we have 3 tasks, that is meeting the customer, identifying the need, and then finally establishing the product statement. So for the first task, we have 3 subtasks. So let us assume that for a week, you're going to work for 5 days. So meeting the customer can take 2 days. That is the diagram means. Then identifying the needs and constraints will take the second day. And finally, coming out with the product statement will be done in the third day of the week. And milestones is represented as diamond. That is, at the end of the third day, we have to complete with the product statement defined. So this is from the diagram, you can find out what are all the tasks and when we have to start the task and when we have to complete and what is the milestone. So this is the graphical representation. And the last step is schedule tracking. That is, we have created a schedule. Now we have to check whether we are going according to the schedule or not. For this, we use 2 approaches. One is qualitative approach and the other one is quantitative approach. Quantitative approach means using some mathematical formulas, you can find out whether you're going according to the schedule or you have some deviation. Qualitative approaches like to ensure whether you're going according to the schedule, you can conduct status meeting, periodic status meeting with your team member to know the progress of the system, and if they have any problems, you can find out and you can sort it out so that you can complete your project on time. Okay. Then you can evaluate the results of all the reviews conducted throughout the process. Then you can determine some milestones which has to be accomplished on the particular date. So when I say milestone, that particular task has to be done on that day, and we cannot extend that beyond that date. Only if you're doing it on that time, we can complete the project according to the schedule. So we can fix some milestones. Then the other way is we can compare the actual start date and the planned start date to know whether we are going according to the schedule. I may plan that I have to start the work today, but due to some reason I would have not started the work. If I'm starting the work tomorrow, then there is a deviation in my schedule. So you have to compare the planned date and the actual start date to know whether there is a lag. And you can also meet informally to know the status of the project. So these are all some of the ways by which you can track whether you're going according to the schedule or not. So this is the 4 steps involved in project scheduling. First, you have to identify the task, what are all the tasks set, what is the product, and what is the quality filters. Then you have to find out in which order you're going to carry out the task. For that, you go for a task network diagram. Then we go for allocating the timelines for each and every activity. That is Gantt chart. So when you have to start and when you have to stop, and you have to fix a milestone. You cannot delay the work beyond that milestone. That is the purpose of fixing a milestone. Then you have to check whether you are following the schedule or not, or is there any deviation. To check that, you can conduct a periodic meeting either formally or informally. Then you can use even some formulas to find out whether you are according to the schedule or not. Okay. Yes, thanks.